Listen carefully, because the exhaustion you have been calling weakness may be the first evidence that something ancient inside you has started to rise. You have been waking up tired even after sleeping. You have been losing interest in noise, crowds, empty conversations, and people who once had access to your energy without permission. Your body feels heavy, your mind feels distant, and your spirit keeps whispering that you are not the same person anymore. That is not random, that is not laziness, that is not the end of you. It may be the collapse of the false version of you that survived by pleasing everyone, carrying everything, and pretending nothing hurt. Chosen one, this message did not reach you by accident. Sophia, the divine intelligence hidden beneath the surface of ordinary life, does not activate through comfort first. She activates through disruption. She removes your appetite for what is false. She makes the old life feel too small. She allows the noise to become unbearable so you can finally hear the voice beneath it. And when that process begins, the human system can feel tired because your entire inner world is being asked to reorganize. You are not only tired from work, you are tired from pretending. You are tired from smiling when your soul is screaming. You are tired from explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You are tired from shrinking your power so insecure people can remain comfortable around you. You are tired from carrying guilt that was never yours, responsibilities nobody thanked you for, and emotional weight that other people quietly placed on your back. This is why your exhaustion feels deeper than sleep. Sleep can rest the body, but it cannot repair a life built against your spirit. A weekend cannot heal years of self-betrayal. A vacation cannot restore energy that leaks every time you abandon your truth. More caffeine cannot awaken a soul that is being called into a higher identity. Something more serious is happening. The old structure is failing because it can no longer contain who you are becoming. Sophia is activating your God state, not by turning you into something above humanity, but by returning you to the divine authority you buried beneath fear. Your God state is the condition in which you stop begging life for permission to exist. It is the state in which your thoughts, choices, boundaries, words, and actions begin to move from inner truth instead of external approval. It is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is not control over others. It is control over the part of you that once surrendered your power to them. And before we go deeper, make a decision. Subscribe to this channel, press like, and comment one word below, ACTVted. Write it as a declaration that you are no longer treating your transformation like a problem. There is a reason this exhaustion arrived now. For years you lived through borrowed identities. You became what your family needed. You became what your partner expected. You became what your workplace rewarded. You became calm when you wanted to speak, available when you needed distance, forgiving when you had not yet healed, and strong when you were quietly breaking. You adapted so well that people began to mistake your adaptation for your identity. But your soul knew the difference. Your soul knew every time you said yes while your entire body was saying no. It knew every time you laughed to hide discomfort. It knew every night you stared at the ceiling and wondered why a life that looked acceptable from the outside felt empty on the inside. It knew when you called survival success because you were afraid to admit you wanted something more. Sophia does not shame you for that. She understands why you survived the way you did. She understands the child in you who learned that love had to be earned. She understands the teenager who became useful so nobody would leave. She understands the adult who kept performing strength because vulnerability had once been punished. Divine wisdom does not attack your coping mechanisms. It reveals when they have expired. That is what exhaustion can become, a notice of expiration. The version of you that kept running on fear has reached its limit. The version that overgave, overthought, overexplained, and overexpended cannot enter the next chapter with you. That version was built for emergencies. It was not built for destiny. It knew how to survive chaos, but it did not know how to receive peace. It knew how to scan a room for danger, but it did not know how to sit in stillness without feeling guilty. It knew how to rescue everyone else, but it did not know how to ask, "What do I need?" Your God state begins with that question. What do you need when nobody is watching? What truth have you delayed because it would disappoint someone? What part of your life drains you the moment you think about it? Who benefits from your confusion? Who becomes uncomfortable when you are clear? What dream keeps returning even after you bury it beneath practical excuses? These are not small questions. They are doors. Sophia activates you by making avoidance more painful than change. At first you may think everything is falling apart. Your routines stop working, your motivation disappears, certain relationships become tense, you feel disconnected from goals that once controlled you. You may even wonder whether you have lost your ambition. But perhaps you have not lost ambition. Perhaps you have lost your willingness to chase what was never meant for you. There is a difference between being unmotivated and being spiritually misdirected. When your energy refuses to move toward a false destination, do not immediately call yourself broken. Sometimes the soul applies the brakes before the mind understands the danger. Sometimes exhaustion is the body's rebellion against a life the spirit has already outgrown. Sometimes you are not procrastinating. Sometimes you are grieving the identity that achieved things nobody inside you truly wanted. That grief is real. So do not insult yourself for being tired. There may be a medical, emotional, or practical reason for fatigue, and caring for your health is not a lack of faith. Rest, hydration, nutrition, movement, sunlight, professional support, and proper medical evaluation can all be part of spiritual maturity. Sophia is wisdom, and wisdom does not ask you to ignore the body. The body is one of the first places truth speaks. But when you have cared for the obvious and still feel a deeper heaviness, look at the life beneath the symptoms. Ask where your energy goes. Ask what conversations replay in your mind. Ask which people leave you feeling smaller. Ask what you keep tolerating. Ask what fear is costing you each day. Your God state is not activated by pretending everything is mystical. It is activated by becoming radically honest. Honesty is energy recovery. Sophia does not activate your God state by giving you endless signs. She activates it by making you responsible for the truth you already know. You already know who drains you. You already know what habit weakens you. You already know which promise to yourself you keep breaking. You already know the conversation you need to have. You already know where you are settling. The real question is not whether you know. The real question is whether you trust yourself enough to act. Divine power without self-trust becomes spiritual entertainment. You watch messages, collect symbols, repeat affirmations, and search for confirmation, yet your life remains unchanged because the action never comes. Sophia is not asking you to consume another idea. She is asking you to become the person who can carry truth into behavior. That begins quietly. It begins when you stop replying immediately to every demand. It begins when you take a full breath before saying yes. It begins when you protect 1 hour of your morning. It begins when you turn off the noise and allow yourself to feel what has been waiting. It begins when you stop explaining a boundary to someone who only respects access. It begins when you choose the difficult peace over the familiar chaos. Presence means you stop abandoning this moment to live inside fear of the next one. It means you feel your feet on the floor, your breath in your chest, and the truth inside your body. It means you stop treating your life as a waiting room for some future version of you. You are not waiting to become worthy. You are practicing the awareness that worth was never missing. The exhaustion may be asking you to slow down enough to meet yourself. Human transformation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like crying in your car after holding it together all day. Sometimes it looks like deleting a message instead of begging someone to understand. Sometimes it looks like washing your face, drinking water, and going to bed because you finally accept that exhaustion is not a moral failure. Sometimes it looks like saying, "I cannot do everything today," and refusing to hate yourself for it. That is not weakness. That is the return of self-respect. This is Sophia's work. She does not always add, often she subtracts. She subtracts the need to be chosen by everyone. She subtracts the addiction to comparison. She subtracts the fantasy that one person's approval will finally heal you. She subtracts the belief that exhaustion makes you noble. She subtracts false urgency so you can recognize sacred timing. And subtraction can feel like emptiness before it feels like freedom. You may miss people you know you cannot return to. You may miss old habits because they were familiar. You may miss the version of yourself who could ignore everything and keep moving. Awakening does not erase attachment overnight. It teaches you not to confuse longing with instruction. You can miss something and still know it is not meant for you. Sophia teaches you to feel without surrendering authority. When sadness comes, you do not become sadness. When fear comes, you do not obey fear. When exhaustion comes, you do not build an identity around it. You listen. You respond. You ask what the feeling carries. Then you choose from awareness rather than reaction. This is where your energy begins to return. Your new life may begin with less, not more. Less access, less explanation, less noise, less rushing, less contact with people who only call when they need something, less pressure to appear okay, less consumption of content that leaves you agitated, less obsession with when, how, and what if. In that space, power gathers. The God state is concentrated attention. Most people scatter their power across regret, comparison, resentment, fantasy, and fear. They wake up and immediately give their mind to notifications. They allow strangers, headlines, and algorithms to decide the emotional temperature of the day. By noon, their energy has been divided into 1,000 pieces. Sophia calls your attention home. Before touching your phone, touch your own life. Ask, what is mine to do today? Not this year, not forever. Today, what one decision would honor your spirit? What one action would make you respect yourself tonight? What one boundary would stop unnecessary energy loss? Do not underestimate one aligned action. Your power is not always in doing more. Sometimes it is in discontinuing what weakens you. This is why exhaustion often appears before authority. The old energy strategy must fail before you choose a new one. You must see that constant effort cannot force what is misaligned. You must experience the cost of self-abandonment so deeply that returning to yourself becomes non-negotiable. The chosen one is not the person who never becomes tired. The chosen one is the person who learns to read tiredness as information instead of shame. You are not being punished. You are being instructed. Listen without romanticizing and listen without fear. Sophia's wisdom is practical. Divine intelligence can appear as intuition, but it can also appear as a calendar, a budget, a doctor's appointment, a difficult boundary, a glass of water, an early bedtime, a resignation letter, or a plan. Spirituality is not escaping reality. It is meeting reality with deeper consciousness. Your God state needs structure, it needs sleep, it needs clean commitments, it needs financial responsibility, it needs emotional honesty, it needs people who respect your nervous system, it needs work that does not require you to hate yourself, it needs a body you treat as an ally rather than a machine. You cannot build divine authority on daily self-neglect. So begin repairing the relationship with your own word. When you tell yourself you will rest, rest. When you tell yourself you will stop contacting someone, stop. When you tell yourself you will work for 20 focused minutes, do it. Self-trust is built through kept promises, especially small ones. Every broken promise to yourself teaches the subconscious that your words do not matter. Every kept promise restores command. This is the deeper meaning of the God state. Your inner world begins to believe you. Your thoughts and actions stop fighting each other. Your energy no longer leaks through contradiction. You become coherent. Coherence is powerful because life responds differently to a person who is no longer divided. Your voice changes. Your standards change, your posture changes, you stop negotiating with what you know is wrong for you. People feel the shift before you announce it. Some will celebrate you, some will resist you. The people who loved your obedience may call your boundaries selfish. The people who benefited from your confusion may call your clarity arrogance. The people who only knew how to connect through chaos may disappear when you choose peace. Let them misunderstand the version of you they can no longer control. You do not need to become cruel. You do not need revenge. You do not need to prove anything. Your task is not to punish those who drained you. Your task is to stop volunteering your energy to the same pattern. Sophia's activation is quiet authority. It is the moment you realize you can leave without a dramatic speech. You can decline without guilt. You can forgive without reconciliation. You can wish someone well from a distance. You can protect your future without attacking your past. That level of maturity conserves enormous power. Imagine how much energy becomes available when you stop rehearsing arguments that will never happen. Imagine how much returns when you stop checking who viewed, replied, approved, or ignored. Imagine how much strength comes back when you accept that closure is sometimes a decision, not a conversation. Your exhaustion may be the final bill for years of emotional overpayment. Pay attention to that. Do not rush to become productive again just so others feel comfortable. Let this season teach you. Let your body reveal the pace your next life requires. Let your silence expose what constant motion was hiding. Let yourself become unfamiliar to the people who only knew your wounds. You are not disappearing. You are withdrawing energy from a false identity. Soon you may notice something different. The same situations no longer trigger the same reaction. You pause where you once panicked. You observe where you once chased. You walk away where you once begged. You rest where you once forced. That is activation. It may not look supernatural, but it is sacred. The miracle is not that you never feel tired again. The miracle is that you stop using your energy against yourself. The miracle is that your inner voice becomes kinder and stronger at the same time. The miracle is that you become unavailable for what once controlled you. Chosen one, your exhaustion is not proof that you are failing. It may be proof that the old fuel has run out. Fear cannot carry you any farther. Approval cannot carry you any farther. Survival cannot carry you any farther. Now you must move through alignment. Rest without guilt. Act without begging. Speak without shrinking. Love without abandoning yourself. Serve without becoming a sacrifice. Dream without asking permission. And when your body says enough, listen before life has to scream. Sophia is not awakening a stranger inside you. She is awakening the self that existed before the world taught you to perform for love.